Hi, I'm Celeste Carrillo, and this is my project titled Insects for Human Consumption and the Rearing/Farming Process. Insects are consumed globally in 11 European, 14 Oceania, 23 American, 29 Asian, and 35 African countries. The largest consumers of insects are Mexico, China, Japan, Thailand, and India. But what is preventing the insect diet in the Western world, or more specifically, the United States? It is estimated that 10 quintillion insects live on Earth. That is, 10 with 18 zeros on the end of it. So why would this not be a reliable food source for the planet? I have never personally eaten an insect, but that begs the question, what kind of insects are best for a food source? North American insect consumption is focused on the Orthoptera order of insects. Crickets are a common food source for pets and can be found consistently in pet stores. So, if crickets are already being mass-produced, why not use these rearing resources for human consumption as well? That is the goal of ENT1005, who grow crickets and process them into a powder that can be used in dishes to increase your protein intake. Their product is marketed as a flour, used for cooking and baking, but the main audience for this product is people focused on fitness, and you can use it in smoothies as well. The high amount of protein in this cricket product makes it valuable to people who are very focused on working out. Many different cultures eat insects around the world. Shown are different insect-based dishes in Thailand. While most show the adult life stages of the insects, some are served/prepared in their egg, larvae, pupa, or nymph stages. The wasp larvae shown in the C and D section of the bottom right are cooked inside of the hives. Thailand heavily lacks standardized insect farming practices that would ensure the safety of insect consumption and being able to accurately predict the shelf life of these products. The book "Man-Eating Bugs: The Art and Science of Eating Insects" documents the author's experience of eating scorpions. He describes them as a special treat that the manager and chef brought to him while he was visiting in China. In the story, he goes over how the dish was prepared to him at this table. First, the manager drops the live scorpions in water to clean them. Then he drops them into rice wine and waits for them to stop struggling. Afterwards, the chef uses scissors to remove the stingers and poison sacs before the scorpion is placed on a plate with dressings like any other entree. Although scorpions are not technically insects since they belong to the arachnid family and their own order of scorpions, they are lumped together in this term bug. If you're wondering about the safety of the author, the scorpion's stinger is found at the end of their long tails, which arch over their bodies to get their prey. The stinger is very noticeable. Also, the poison glands of a scorpion bulge out from the end of the tail as well, making them easily recognizable and able to remove. Now we know there's a wide range of insect-based diets. But how do you find insects to eat them? Is there a way to farm them? Do you have to go out and find them? Let's talk about that more. Insect farming around the world comes in different shapes and sizes. Using Thailand again as an example, there are 20,000 insect farmers registered in the country. Most of them are very small-scale home operations. In short, insect consumption is dependent on three sources: wild harvesting, semi-domestication, and farming. As shown in the pie chart above, 92% of insects that are consumed are harvested in the wild where they live. They are found in their natural habitat, which contributed to the uneasiness surrounding the safety and eating of insects. It is hard to know what kind of condition the insects are in when you find them. If you are harvesting insects, you're dependent on knowing where they are and knowing a knowledge about the species enough where you can tell if they are injured or unsafe to eat. It is also unclear how much of that insect you will be able to harvest regularly. You are dependent on the natural order of the ecosystem to supply the food source. Semi-domesticated implies that the creature is helped grow by a human source, but is not completely dependent on human interaction. Honey farms are a great example of this because they are moderated by the farmers. These bees live in a box, and their queens are placed specifically to ensure the hive stays in one place. but they can travel outside of the hive to feed themselves. Humans often check in on the honeybees, and honey is harvested by a human. Often, semi-domesticated insect farms can be identified by outdoor enclosures which give them some sort of interaction with the natural environment. Large-scale insect farms are mostly indoors to prevent outside factors from interacting with the insect population. They are mostly in large troughs or halls to keep the insects all together so they continuously breed and then they all feed from the same location. Insect farm cells are very noticeable. You can see them clumping on drawers, cardboard, or other surfaces inside of their enclosures. Indoor insect rearing does not always require the stark white lab coats and high-tech equipment that you would imagine when thinking about commercialized farming. Worldwide, insect farming is a very rural and manual process. Rearing insects indoors ensures a steady supply of them that is not dependent on the seasons or the natural environment and its resources. But indoor rearing requires a few other things. First, you need ambient environment control. This means that you're controlling the temperature, humidity, and the photoperiod of the insect's enclosure. You will also need quality feed that is filled with proteins, vitamins, other nutrients that you would want any animal you're eating to be eating as well. Especially since insect farming is marketed as a strong protein source, you'd want to ensure that they are eating a sustainable diet. You would also need to actively prevent your insect population from parasitoids and diseases that could affect a large amount of them or your entire population of insects. As shown in the graphic above, producing 1 kilogram of crickets is much more resource efficient for producing a protein-rich meal. Additionally, insect products are being considered to be the most effective and efficient protein source that can be added to the feed of other livestock to reduce the amount of synthetic proteins that animals we're eating are ingesting. If you're not too keen on eating insects, then let the cows and pigs and chickens eat them even more. As the industry continues to grow, scientists begin to think about the ethics of large-scale insect farming. They are currently debating insect sentience, but commercial farming industry is growing at a much quicker rate and becoming more mainstream or widely accepted. A professor at Texas State University named Bob Fisher explains that you will also need to consider the temperature most comfortable for the insect, the moisture levels, the lighting, the diet, and most similar to the guidelines of any other animal rearing, how much space the insect has and how much they are cramped together. This is complicated though because most insects are often cramped together already. In fact, most larvae enjoy cramped spaces because that is how they would naturally hatch. Another point is how the insects are slaughtered. In most cases, livestock must be humanely stunned before they are killed, but there is no regulation like this for insects. Many farms freeze, microwave, steam, boil, roast, or simply mince the insects to death before they are processed. Many people consider this a bizarre debate because most are comfortable with killing insects with their shoes, spraying them with pesticides, and using them for pet food. Overall, eating insects is an exciting, new environment for Western society and could be used to change the food industry by offering a resource-efficient protein source that could be mass-produced around the world. But the benefits will not reach the whole world until we fully embrace it and completely commercialize insect rearing. Only then could this other protein source ever compete with the already existing meat industry.